Go. All right. Hello, everybody. I am here today with my friend and fellow author, Shawn Verdoni. Hello, Shawn.
Hi, Candy. How are ya?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Doing fabulous. Congratulations on such a successful book launch. I
Oh,
got mine last week, I think.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. As a part of my book launch, since we couldn't do a traditional book launch, we've been doing some fun activities in my Facebook group, which has been kind of just a creative COVID way of doing things. And you contributed and donated one of your books, which is called Canoodling Up North. It's an excellent read. You
Thank
contributed
you.
that as a prize for one of the giveaways as we were going through.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you so much for that. But I wanted to take some time today to maybe to share with the people who are going to be seeing this a little bit about you and a little bit about your book. So maybe you could start by just telling us about yourself.
Sure. Again, my name is Shawn Verdoni. I'm 52 years old, and I've been married to my husband for close to 28 years now. We met in 1990 in college, and we live in the town of McWanago. We love the rural life. We have two beautiful adult children and two dogs. And one of the things that just has always been a part of my life is creative storytelling. And I don't know if it's my Irish heritage or what, but I talk a lot, and people just love the stories. And then when we moved and we built this house in 2000, it all kind of culminated then. We just had some horrific and hysterical things happening that Christmas where my husband insisted to deep fry a turkey for Christmas. So
Okay.
you can just imagine, you know, all kinds of chaos happened. And as I was trying to tell people the story, I was laughing so hard they couldn't understand it. So I wrote it down, and people were texting me back and saying, "Oh my God, I spilled hot coffee on myself. I was laughing so hard." And so my annual Christmas letter are those kinds of stories. And I had been testing the waters about writing for years, but kept getting blocked, stonewalled. And one of my dear, dear friends who lived up north until he passed away, he was going to be my editor. And so he and I, because again, up north stories were just as hysterical
Oh, sure.
as Christmas stories. And it kept getting blocked. And then I just, in 2017, that block was lifted. And I started writing. But for me, my mantra for work, for home life, and for this book, it's all about building relationships. And I think everybody needs to have that one thing, that motto, if you will, about, what is my purpose? And that's my purpose, is to build relationships.
I love that. I love that. So, talk a little bit about your story. Give everybody a little bit of information about Kat and about Damon and about everything that's going on there.
Well, Canoodling Up North starts with Kat um, up north herself with her dog Mia, which happens to be an absolute biographical look at my dog Mia. She signed off on it, I promise. And she's just had a really tough time. And so she's going up there to decompress and feel the spiritual healing of nature that she feels. And just kind of get a look back at her life and where she's at, and where there's gaps, and then the way that I wrote it is that it's her her point of view in the odd chapters, and it's Damon's point of view in the even. So the first chapter is getting to know Kat and her family and her work life and everything, and then in the second chapter is Damon, and where Kat is like, I'm done with guys, I just need to focus on myself and figure out my work life and everything. Damon is like, play in the field. He is just the happy-go-lucky guy. He's very gregarious. He loves being an animal vet, and he's actually very specific. He's an acupuncturist for horses, and his best buddy Pete, who's a hot Italian guy. I married a hot Italian guy, so I had to put one in there. And they got the synergy and everything's going great, but everything is very surface for Damon. He doesn't want anybody to go below the surface. The minute any woman starts looking like she wants something meaningful, she's out the door. And then he lives on a farm, a horse farm in Erin, Wisconsin with his parents. They live in their own house, and then he lives in a different area. But they heard this crane just squawking because it was in pain. And so it had a broken wing, and he and his dad bring it to where Cat works, and the sparks are flying. So that's setting up their story. But what's beautiful about Canoodling Up North is that, again, I'm building it so that it's not just a love story. That's kind of the central component, but it's taking each person as an individual and how are they building the relationship with themselves? How are they building it with their family, their friends? How are they building it with nature and animals? And then how are they, are they strong enough, and are they at the right place where they can build this intimate love connection and relationship? So that's kind of, I know I didn't do, the one thing I'm really great at synergizing grants, because that's what I do, but synergizing my book, I just start telling you the whole book. So I apologize if that's too much of a ramble.
No, it's so good. And I know when I started reading it too, I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known Kat forever. Like she's one of my friends. And, we are in Wisconsin. And so you totally captured that feel and that spirit of what Midwestern living is. And Kat, I literally felt like I could give her a call and just be like, hey, let's go. We're gonna go to the state fair or whatever
Yes.
it might be. And so just fascinating. So thank you for sharing that little snippet in the introduction.
You're welcome.
And so this is book one in a series.
Yes.
So tell us about what happens next.
So what's basically happening in book one is them getting to know each other and building that relationship and recognizing that this has possibilities. But with every relationship, there are challenges and there's stumbling blocks. And one of the things that is a key component for both of them, because they've both been hurt before, is honesty and being truthful. So at the very beginning, they say to each other, look, if you feel like it's time to go, then go. Don't cheat on me. I won't cheat on you. And we're going to tell each other the truth all the time. So I took it from that perspective and saying, so let's just say it's you and me. We're having this conversation. We want to deepen our relationship and we want to build it on honesty. And we're making this pledge to be honest to each other. In my mindset and in how I built these two books, I'm looking to you for your pledge to me to be honest. What happens when I'm the one that's got information that I need to be honest with you about, but it could break up this relationship? So in book one, Kat has a big secret, and because she didn't realize that Damon could potentially be the one, it wasn't a secret on purpose. She was just like, why should I share this with somebody that we're just dating? But then as things got deeper and deeper, she's like, whoa, I need to share it with him, but this could really put a kink in everything, or he could just leave me because of this. So in book two, then Damon, like right away, he's got a similar situation. So what I'm trying to do in book two is, now it's his perspective. How does he handle the honesty piece? And then I'm looking at it from both of them. It's like, okay, so they're trying to fix things. They're trying to handle obstacles independent of each other. Can we get them to work together, and have a strengthened, not only a bond, but a strengthened front against these problems? Can they figure this out together? And so book two is really working through that. It's a lot more of a spiritual journey, and there's a significant portion of mental illness and depression that goes in there. And but what happens there is, to me, book 2 was much more of my heart.
Okay.
And I did a lot more crying in book 2. There was a lot of closure for things that I had been dealing with in my life, and things that I just kind of, compartmentalized,
Mhm.
that had to come to surface in order to fully express what these two characters are going through.
So your book is fiction.
Yes,
My book is nonfiction.
correct.
Yet there are some parallels in there with
Tons.
learning to stand in your own truth and sharing what needs to be shared in order to have this catharsis and this healing and to bring closure to things so you can really move on into the life that your purpose in life.
Hmm.
And that's something that we've talked about. So in what you just mentioned, um, your own catharsis and bringing things to close, it is almost, people ask me about writing, and it's almost as if the book begins to write itself.
Yes.
It's a really fascinating, it's a fascinating process because my book, for example, was not the book I intended to write. I wanted to write something completely different, but it just came through me onto these pages.
Mhm.
And it's that inspiration that I'm finding more authors as we're having these conversations are saying, yes, yeah, that book started to take on a life of its own. So you've experienced
Yes.
the same?
That's exactly it. My original, and where I kept getting stuck, is I was going to write a book like yours. I was going to write, kind of like an autobiography, but do it in maybe little vignettes.
Mhm.
And I kept stopping. And then a local author, Amy Reichert, she does some wonderful contemporary romance novels. She was talking at our local library here in Mukwonago, and I brought it up to her at one of her book signings, and she said, "Have you ever thought about writing fiction?" And I said, "No, I have no idea about that." She goes, "You take all these great stories that you're telling me about, you get to decide the ending.
Mm.
You get to choose its journey. The journey doesn't choose you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's what it started with. And at that time in my life, both of my children were out of the house. My husband and I, he works a ton of hours, 12 to 15 hours a day. He's in retail. And I do really good work in the kind of work that I do. It's very rewarding. And I'm going to school, but I was empty. I was complete. I didn't know who I was anymore. I was at a total loss, and I had been in severe depression before in my life. And at one time, I tried to take my life during one of those pieces, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to figure out a way out of this hole that was starting to just suck me in with all of its negativity. And so, in reading your book, it's interesting because you started to wanted to write about other people's life stories, and you ended up writing about yours. I was going into this fake world, and it turned out that Kat and Damon are both a piece of me, but yet as I wrote them, they were telling me their separate stories.
Mm.
They were telling me what I should be putting down on paper. So I totally get what you're saying. It wrote itself. And when I wrote the last sentence in book 2, I cried because I didn't want to stop writing their story.
Well, that means that there will be a book 3.
There is a book 3, but
Okay.
so I had a focus group of about 20 diverse women, and one of the things that came out of it that I was completely surprised about is they wanted to know what happens to Kat's best friend, orally. So that's where book 3 is going. So
Okay.
book 2, it's canoodling out west, because there's a significant portion out in Montana that
Okay.
happens. And then the working title for the third book is My Higgledy Piggledy Life.
Oh, my goodness. Nice.
These fun stories.
Canoodling, hickledy pickledy.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. Well, before we wrap up then, I
Yeah.
have one more thing I want to do, but do you have anything else that you want to add?
Um, I just wanted to thank you so much for this opportunity because I think, like I said, the people that are interested in your book, I think could totally get into mine and vice versa. I think again, we're running parallel stories here, and I just it's wonderful that we're able to work together to promote each other's books and learn from each other as well.
Oh, absolutely, because it is a learning journey. This is
Oh
being a first-time author is it's an incredible learning journey.
gosh, yes.
100%. And we're both published with the Unapologetic Voice House. And so that is a publishing house that wants to bring life to powerful female voices. So it's exciting to be a part of that too.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be here without it, that's for sure.
Right. Right. So, okay, so I, for a gift this year, got this great Oracle deck called the Sacred Self-Care Guidebook and Oracle deck. And
Mm,
I'm wondering if I could just pull a card and we could just end on that. Is that all right?
sure.
All right.
Sounds great.
So tell me when.
Now,
Oh, the self-care that that it's suggesting, it's watch a movie.
oh, lovely.
Watch a movie and it's there's a little cat and a little cup of coffee, and I'm just gonna read it for us here. Watch a movie. Mantra, I am worthy of relaxing.
Well, we just talked about that before it went recorded.
And this is true, like how both of us this last week have really needed to step back and spend a little bit of time in self-care and relaxing. It says
Absolutely.
movies are a beautiful way to escape into fantasy. So is reading Canoodling Up North.
Thank you.
Slip into another culture or try on a different point of view. They can be the perfect indulgence when you need a timeout, a perspective shift, a deep belly laugh, or a good cry. Plan a night to watch a movie or read a book by yourself and journal about how it makes you feel. Treat yourself to a solo date night at the movie theater. You are worth it. Organize a themed movie night with a loved one or group and step out of reality and into a story together. Journal prompt. What is your favorite movie from childhood and how does it make you feel? Do you have a favorite movie from childhood?
Oh yeah, it was The Sound of Music.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
that.
huge musical fan. Well, I got a question for you on this. Talking about movies, I've been asked who would play the lead roles in Canoodling Up North. I know that book is about you, but people certainly have things like that go on the screen. So, who do you think would play you in a movie of your book?
Oh, who would play me? What a great question. I would love can I just say Julia Roberts because I love her?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I just love her. I love Julia Roberts. I love Sandra Bullock. I love Reese Witherspoon. Like
See,
these
I
are
thought of Sandra Bullock for you.
okay. Yes, I can see Sandra Bullock doing it. Yes. Oh, how fun is that? What a great question.
And then who do you see playing Kat and who do you see playing Damon in the movies?
Oh, um, I am thinking about Emma Stone
Ah, that would be a good one.
and well, Ryan Gosling. Like their chemistry is just so good. So like
Yeah,
I know that they've been another, but they would be great. They would really be great.
fascinating. I didn't think about him.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for that.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate this, and I will look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, thanks, Candy.
All
Happy
right.
canoodling.
Bye.
Bye.